When it comes to the center, staying hidden is key to survival on PvP servers, so we proudly present top 10 hidden locations on the center. Coming at number 10, this first location can be found at 5.9 latitude and 23.9 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this first location can be found over on the kind of top left hand, bottom hand of the map, not like top hand, but anyways, coming over here you have this nice little hidden area. Now it's at number 10, I'll admit it's nothing too crazy, but hey, it is a nice little hidden location, so if you are living in here, sorry for exposing your base location, but hey, you know, I gotta show some people where all these good spots are. Anyways, up in here, as you can see, it's nothing too crazy. I mean, until cliff platforms come out, it's gonna be a little tricky to work with, but once cliff platforms are out, build in this location. I guarantee you a lot of people really aren't gonna be messing with you too much here, but yeah, overall, it does make for a decent location. Coming at number 9, this next location can be found at 74.8 latitude and 88.6 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this one can be found over in the redwoods. Now this is one of the ones that is a little bit higher up, and overall it's not a bad location. If you're like a solo or a duo tribe looking to kind of stay hidden, this is a pretty decent one. I mean, it is the farthest way out of the map, at least on the barrier. I mean, the world border is literally right next to this thing, so overall it's not a terrible spot to live in. I would definitely maybe try to defend this as well as you possibly can, because it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. I mean, you don't have too much flat land, and of course I added the foundations just so you guys can kind of see the actual true scale of these spots. So yeah, I mean, you'd have a good amount of room, don't get me wrong, but you don't have anything too crazy to fit like an indie forge or anything. So that is the one downside of that. However, you have more than enough room to fit everything that you're going to need for a duo, or maybe even a solo, or maybe even a trio tribe. I mean, you can fit a decent amount of stuff in here. And coming at number 8, this next location can be found at 92.2 latitude and 58.2 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this one can also be found in the redwoods. This can be found about dead middle of the redwoods, and this one is actually one of the more hidden ones. In fact, you're probably looking at it, you can't see anything. So this nice little hidden spot is actually up inside. So you have to come over here and you have to fly inside of the hill, and of course there it is right there. Now yes, this one is a little bit tight, it's a little bit compact, but overall it's not a terrible one at all. I mean, you have a decent amount of room. I mean, if you look at the foundation, you have a good amount of room. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, like you can't fit any indie forges in here or anything. So that is one downside of that, and defending this one is going to be a little bit tricky, but it's honestly a really good spot. I mean, not a lot of people are even going to know that you're there. Yeah, you might get a couple people, but that's not too much. And then back in here, there is a way to get into here. It's a little bit tricky, but there's not really a lot of room back here. I couldn't get in there, but yeah, it's a little bit of some extra storage in there. So overall, not a terrible location at all, and works for an amazing spot for maybe even a solo or a duo tribe. Coming at number 7, this next location can be found at 11.1 latitude and 24.2 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this one can be found over next to, I want to say, the waterfall, at least the bigger waterfall, although that doesn't really help, there's waterfalls everywhere. Anyways, this one can be found behind this main waterfall at those coordinates, so you have to go into the waterfall. Now this location's overall not a terrible spot at all, and just to let you guys know, every single one of these spots do not have cave damage, they don't have anything, so it is proper damage volumes. This is definitely one of the taller ones, and you can fit an indie forge back in here. It's going to be a little tight, but it will fit. Overall, not a terrible location at all, not a lot of people are really going to mess with you here, and I think it'll make for a really good base location. Coming at number 6, this next location can be found at 13.2 latitude and 23.7 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this one, again, can be found right behind the exact same waterfall, just a little bit farther down and a little bit on the opposite side of the waterfall. Now this one is a bit of a different one. I threw it in here because it is still hidden. I mean, with the waterfall, you cannot see into this spot at all, but it is a massive platform. If you look at the size of the foundation, it is enormous. So if you're looking for more of a flat location, one that's a little bit more open, this is a pretty good one. The only downside is people can stego drop on you. I mean, they can drop stuff. It's going to be a little bit tricky to defend. But if you're open to it, it's not a terrible location at all. Coming at number 5, this next location can be found at 16.7 latitude and 17.8 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this can be found over on the side of this massive cliff. I'm just gonna tell you this now, guys. This whole cliff, it's gonna have at least 100 rat holes on it. So if you're looking for some rat holes or some hidden base locations, go look over here. Anyways, this is a bit of an awkward one. I'll just say that. Another reason why it's at number 5 is because of how compact that it is. I mean, it's tighter down. It's gonna be a little bit easier to defend. And overall, it's actually pretty big. I mean, you have a lot of room to work with. The only issue is gonna be defending this. You have 3 main kind of entrance areas, if you want to call them that. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but overall, I mean, if you just put a nice little turret tower out front, it'll make for a pretty good spot. And coming in number 4, this next location can be found at 83.2 latitude and 64.8 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this one can be found over in the Redwoods area. This one is a little bit tricky to find. Just look for the main kind of overhang. So there's like a little pathway that goes underneath something, and it can be found right up here in the corner. Now this one is a little bit tight, so if you're a solo player, I would highly recommend building in this one. I would not recommend it if you have more than 2 people, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's a bit of a compact area, but it is possible. As long as you lower your foundations, it can work. So it actually does have a little hidden rat hole back in here as well. And this one is a little bit taller, so you can fit a little bit of stuff in here, but I would not build in here as your main base. Overall, I would just kind of keep it as like a little backup area, just to kind of store some loot. If you're a little bit lost on where to build. Coming at number 3, this next location can be found at 93 latitude and 71 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this one can be found over in the Redwoods region. And this location is actually a pretty decent one. So as you can see here, this is your main area, which I will show the outside of it again. I know this one is going to be a little bit tricky to find. This one is not a bad location at all. I mean, if you can have some kind of hanging towers, possibly, even if you don't have any cliff flats, it is so possible to have some hanging towers. But if you take up this entire area, you'll have plenty of room for a base. You can fit an IndyForge in here, barely on the outside. And yeah, here's what it looks like on the outside. I mean, you have plenty of room, and you even have a platform right here on the left that could work in your advantage, or it can work in your disadvantage if you don't defend that properly. So overall, it's really a pretty good location if you're looking to stay hidden, and you can fit a good amount of people in here as well. Coming at number 2, this next location can be found at 4.6 latitude and 28.4 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this one is pretty simple to find. Just follow the world border, and you have to follow it in a certain direction. So follow exactly what I do to get into this spot. This spot is insane. If you can properly defend this main kind of entrance, like yes, it is a bigger entrance, but if you can figure out how to defend this good sized entrance, this might be a pretty unrateable spot. So the barrier looks like it doesn't stop people from getting in up here. This entire area that you're seeing right here can only be accessed through this point where we just came into. There's no other way to get in here. It does look like it, but there isn't. As you can see with the world border, it blocks this entire area off, so players cannot get in, making for a very overpowered spot. So if you're looking for a nice little hidden spot that's not really a rat hole, but more of a just kind of open spot, this is definitely one for you. I would highly recommend taking this spot if it is not taken on your server. It is an insanely overpowered spot with pretty much unlimited room. And finally, coming at number 1, this next location can be found at 40.4 latitude and 1.2 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this can be found off the cliffside, and before you guys get mad at me, this is a spot that you can build in. It doesn't look like it is. Trust me, it is. This is definitely one of the better spots, I would say. I mean, it is better than number 2. You have pretty much unlimited room. The only issue is it is an underwater area. There's no cave damage, there's no extra other damage, it's all just straight, and overall it's a pretty good spot. So this entire area has a barrier right underneath me, and I'm on that barrier. It's just invisible for some reason, I don't know why. But yeah, this is the size of a vacuum compartment in this area. It makes for an amazing spot. It's going to be a very difficult raid if you know how to build this properly. If you know how to place the vacuum compartment right there, you have to put it on the wall and then build out. That's the only way to build out here. But overall, it makes for a really good spot. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like if you're new, and peace out.